welcome back to another episode of the Sloth Doctors. I am Dr. Chip.
I'm Dr. Bob.
And for 2 episodes in a row, we have the illustrious Mark Jacob with us.
Now, and this will truly mark you as no pun intended, as a returning guest.
Yeah,
Yes.
I'm almost a chronic at this point.
He's been subjected to us. I wanted to. We've done a past episode about medical nightmares, and I just wanted to touch on a little thing I'm going through right now, which is really kind of hilarious. So I go to a really good dentist, and my mouth is full of periodontal disease, and he wants to do a procedure. And he gave me the sheet of paper. He goes, here, I need, because I had a thyroid cancer and they took my thyroid out, he seems to need some kind of clearance from my doctor, which that's all they said. So he gives me this piece of paper. I take it to my primary, and she goes, oh, yeah, no, this has got to go to your oncologist. Who's your oncologist? I'm like, what's an oncologist?
Yeah.
She's like, oh, well, that's the guy you're supposed to see. I've never seen one. I don't have one. Oh, okay. Well, we'll give you we'll find one for you and give you a referral.
How did you ever get diagnosed with cancer without seeing an oncologist?
Ear, nose, throat guy.
He didn't refer you?
No.
He just like, yeah, I know what that is.
Yeah.
Well, got to go.
Yeah. Because if you get a lump on your thyroid, that's the only thing anybody's going to tell you to do is take it out.
Right. They don't even bother to do a biopsy or anything because of the size.
Now, I went to a endocrinologist afterwards who set me up. I guess that's somebody that deals with thyroids or the endocrine system,
right,
whatever.
Exactly.
Which
that's
I still don't even understand.
Either prescribe your Synthroid or figure out how much you need.
So anyway, back to the story. So the doctor says we're gonna give you a referral to this oncologist. Okay, great. So do I have to do anything? Oh no, they'll call you. Lady from the oncology place finally calls me after like a month or two, maybe even. It was forever. She finally calls me, starts asking me questions like, yeah. Okay, we're gonna set up an appointment. But here's the thing: we can't really see you unless we're treating you for something. And I'm like, well, I don't need any treatment for anything. I just need you to tell this dentist. Yeah, we understand, but we can't see you unless we're treating. So we need you to go back to your primary and ask him to tell us what. And I'm like, all right, first of all, I'm not going anywhere. You guys are welcome to call him.
Yeah.
You can call him and find, I don't know what to tell you. So sure enough, the time goes on. She calls back from the oncology, starts all over from scratch. I'm like, we've done this before, right? We've had this conversation before. Oh, okay, yeah. And we just need to know this procedure. I'm like, we've done all this before. Oh, well, they're not returning our calls at your primary. Can you go by there? And I'm like, no.
This doesn't sound like a me problem.
Yeah, no. And I'm not doing your job.
Yeah.
I have things to do. I've got my own stuff. I'm not doing your damn job. And then literally the doctor finally called me, and then they're like, yeah, what's going on with this? And they're like, yeah, they're trying to call you. Will you guys please communicate so that I can get whatever the fuck I need done? This is crazy.
There's nothing worse than when you have the two air quote professionals on the phone with one another or trying to get them on, and they still can't accomplish what it is you're doing. I had that happen once with a bank where all I was trying to do was get the bank that I had my money in to wire it to a different bank that I had an account in.
Yeah.
And I literally had 2 agents from the bank both on the phone with each other, and they still couldn't get it done. To the point where I finally was like, give me a cashier's check for everything in the account. I'll take it with me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? We'll do this like Wells Fargo stagecoach style. I guess. And hopefully
back to the Pony Express.
Ridiculous.
Yeah, I had been through something like that with like insurance companies. I had been in an accident, had a car totaled. And it was like going on a month. This was mid-90s, so again, pre-internet days, pre-electronic age. And I'm like, can somebody go look at the car that's bent in half and call it totaled and cut me a check? Because I'm going on like a month here, and I'm paying out for the rental out of my pocket, and I can't get anybody to talk to anybody. Following day, I left work early in my dirty work clothes, and I'm literally like in a very nice office screaming at people, going, "Can somebody please
do something? Do your
my
job."
whole life is like in suspended animation here because nobody can like, oh, check, here's your money, thank you. Like, why is this taking so long? What's the holdup here?
Oddly enough, as much as I rail against insurance and it being a scam, the one problem I've never had is getting money from insurance. It's like I got a motorcycle accident, and they ponied up the money right away. I had to actually make one homeowner's insurance claim back in my day, and they ponied up the money right away. I was like, oh, okay, great.
You got the touch. So to go back to the original story, why does your dentist need to speak to your oncologist? What procedure is he going to do that he needs to? I don't know.
All right, what they're going to do is they're going to peel back my gums to scrub the periodontal disease off my gums and my teeth.
That sounds horrifying.
It does.
Yeah.
It does. That's why I go to this dentist, because he can use a laser and it's not quite as bad as a regular dentist. And so his fear is that they shot radiation through my jaw.
Okay.
Which they didn't. They gave me a radioactive pill. And I told him that, and he was like, oh, okay, that's no big deal then. But I guess they want this paper,
Right.
it's liability.
Yeah.
It's a big fucking,
Right.
And, when it comes time, because I can't even get the procedure done till next March, till the insurance kicks in. So, but by then, if it hasn't gotten done, I'm sure they'll still do it, but I'm saying, but they want to be released from liability of anything, It's just, it's the litigious society we live in.
Yeah.
Because my next question was, certainly you didn't get any kind of implant or anything, because I could see maybe that would be a reason why. Because I've had a lot of problems getting, I had a filter placed in my vena cava like back in 2010. And apparently when you get one of these things, they're supposed to give you a little ID card with like the name, the serial number and the name of the device and whatnot. Because I've had varying levels of success and failure in getting MRIs done on all the subsequent years, because once I tell them that I have a filter, they freak out and they want to know what kind it is. And obviously, I've had multiple MRIs. If it was in any way a ferrous magnetic material, it would have been ripped out of my body a long time ago.
Right.
So it's fine.
I was going to say, what's the
But some
fear?
of them are real sticklers for it, and until they get that okay from the doctor that it put it
could
in or
possibly
whatever,
have,
they just won't do it.
Well, maybe if it's metal, because look at that just happened with the guy who got sucked in the MRI machine. He had a 20-pound chain with a padlock around his neck.
Yeah, and his wife or girlfriend.
And his wife was in there, and then he walked in, and it just grabbed him and just. They didn't say exactly what happened to him, but it wasn't pretty.
Yeah,
it's insane that they even allowed him to enter the room like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is an interesting
So
story.
that's why they make you take all your jewelry and everything off when you're in the MRI machine.
So a family member of mine, he's my grandfather, my grandmother's husband, had to have some MRIs done recently, and he's a big guy. It was some outpatient procedure, and what made me think of this was the whole liability issue. They told him and family, my aunt and my grandmother, that the only way they would do the MRI is if the family would get him onto the MRI table. I have never heard of anything so insane in my life. If anything, you would think you wouldn't even want them in the room as the MRI.
Can he not get himself on the MRI table?
He needs assistance. He needs a little help getting on it.
Yeah.
Because he's.
You would think that's something for the medical professionals to have.
Yeah, I've never heard of anything like that where you had like, did you at least sign? They make you sign a waiver or something like.
A waiver of liability.
What's the fear that they're going to hurt him, putting him on the table or something?
I don't know. I didn't attend, so I don't exactly know what the idea is. But you would think, trained professionals for liability and nothing else, but also for just the ease of, not asking it.
Yeah, I can just sit there. Imagine like a 6-foot guy, 200-pound guy going, "Hey, Grandma, can you help?"
Yeah,
like what?
Yeah, you and your daughter. Can you two help me? Yeah, it's insane. I've never heard of such a thing.
That's crazy.
He got them done. He got all his MRIs done. So,
I wonder if there are people that are just too big to go in the MRI machine.
I would imagine there are.
Sometimes, he's definitely, and he's not in that category. Right, but for sure, there's, and that's why they have open MRIs now too. Which are,
I've never heard of that. Yeah, I'm kidding.
They're not. Apparently,
that's probably what you'd want to take, right?
Yeah, but they're not as accurate or something. There's some reason why I chose it. I was told not to do it. But I have bad claustrophobia. I can't.
I was going to say, I ever get an MRI, I fall asleep.
Yeah, then you have to be like completely still, and it sounds like a nightmare.
If it's an MRI of like my lower body or something, where as long as my head is sticking out of the tube, I'm fine.
Yeah.
But if all of them have been of my neck, so I'm basically, my head is in the dead center of the damn thing, and it's like being in a metal coffin. It's horrifying. I hate it. Tried to do it once with no sedation or no anti-anxiety medication. About 5 seconds into it, I started punching the tube. Like, get me out of this thing. I'm not doing it. Test is over.
So I wonder if that's from you'd have to believe in past lives, but I wonder if that's from some kind of past life experience, like you got buried alive or something in a past life. That's why I think I bite my fingernails so bad, is I'm like, in a past life I got the bamboo treatment or something.
Oh, wow.
Well,
I mean, it's an interesting subject. There's definitely like some inane characteristics you have that you can't explain.
Yeah.
They're like.
Do you think it's not hereditary? Is it? Do any of your parents afraid of that kind of stuff?
My mom was afraid of lots of things. I'm not so sure if claustrophobia was one of them. Probably. I don't know. My dad, I know, didn't have a problem because he and I went to some sort of like bat caves or something once as a tourist attraction in North Carolina. And this was when I was an adult, not that long ago. And I couldn't do it. We got to
so you can't even do caves.
Well, no, I was fine at first, right? And then we get to this one portion of the cave where it's like
it gets really small.
You have to wedge yourself through, and the rock is touching your back and your chest. And I'm like, no, I'm not. This is not fun for me. I don't enjoy doing this.
This is as far as I'm going right here.
And also,
I don't blame you on that.
So we get to this one part where he's like, all right, in a couple of seconds, we're going to show you what real darkness is and experience real darkness. So it was a relatively low ceiling, low enough because I'm not a tall guy, but I was able to reach up and touch the ceiling. And as soon as they turned all the lights out, I had to reach up and touch the ceiling because the whole started. Once they turned the lights on, I'm done with this. This sucks.
What's triggering in your psyche that makes you uncomfortable with that?
I don't know.
I mean, some people, it's like I got bit by a dog when I was a little kid. So for years, I was like a little sketchy around big dogs. Right. I mean, I'm okay now, but it was for years. I was like, ugh.
Maybe as a kid, I was locked in a box or something, and I just suppressed the memories of it. I don't know.
Yeah.
But yeah,
maybe mom put you in the trunk while she went to the store or something.
Yeah, it was weird. There was you had to step on these. I remember the weirdest thing about that bat cave experience is they had these little trays filled with bleach that you had to step into with your shoes when you went in, and then when you came back out, and it was to protect the bats from catching any kind of disease or something from humans.
That's interesting.
I think it would be the other way around.
I know, but they had some issue was going on at the time. I can't remember.
But how would bats catch something from your feet since they live on the ceiling? Yeah, and were you walking around on bat guano?
Yeah, so there was some.
Did it feel like smushy and stuff?
Yeah, in some areas. Yeah.
Dude, do you know how valuable that stuff is?
Yes. They used to. Well, it's not any guano is valuable, but bird and bat, and it's all called.
I heard that the bat is even more desirable for some reason.
Yeah, but the United States used to allow you to claim uninhabited islands if they were covered in. They had a sufficient amount of guano, and it would be claimed as a U.S. territory because it could be used for munitions to help create gunpowder as well as fertilizer. Those are the two big things that they make out of it.
Well, it's like, I don't know if they still do, but one of the main ingredients in like perfume was ambergris.
Yeah,
which is whale vomit. Yeah, so people would just find this bulbous thing on the beach and go, "Oh wow, I just struck the lottery."
Yeah. And it was used and valued and prized for a long time before they knew it was whale vomit.
Yeah, and I
think just see it laying there washed up on the beach. Your first thought isn't going to be, "I bet a whale vomited this."
Yeah, and I think there was like some use as like a lubricant or oils or something like that.
All kinds of squirrely shit washes up on the beach and gets incorporated into traditions and foodstuffs. And I think that's why the Japanese eat as much weird things as they do, is because simply living on an island that long with a high population, eventually you have to just start trying everything.
Yeah, good point.
If you catch it or if it washes up, you eat it.
Yeah.
If nobody dies, you eat it again.
You got to think like how hungry was the first guy that ever ate an oyster?
Right.
I'm going to crack this thing open and there's a bunch of snot-looking stuff in there. I'm like, well...
I say that about king crab. Like, who saw a king crab and said, that looks delicious?
Yeah. or how about when it's a food that has to be prepared a certain way or it's toxic?
Yeah.
How many times did somebody die from pufferfish before they figured out that it was these organs that had the poison?
Mm-hmm. And it's like I'm not a seafood fish person at all. I don't eat any seafood. I don't want to.
I'll eat anything they dredge out of the ocean. I'm one of those guys.
So it's like a lobster and crab, and it's like, nah, I'm okay. No thanks.
The only thing I don't like about crab is it's just too hard to get to sometimes. I mean, king crab's pretty good, but like queen crab and stone crab, oh my God, I've sliced myself open so bad trying to eat stone crab once. It's like that stuff's just downright dangerous getting
just
to
the
it.
Claws,
sometimes.
Right?
Yeah. I mean, it is good, but the amount of work to delicious is. I'll stick to lobster.
Yeah.
But anyway,
the juice ain't worth the squeeze.
There's not much of anything you could dredge out of the ocean that I won't eat. I'll eat the seaweed salad. I'll eat the any of it. I don't know. I must have been raised in Florida or something.
Part otter, perhaps.
Which is like
There's not much of it I don't care for.
Like one of I'm quirky. It's like I don't eat seafood. I don't eat coconuts.
You're not.
And I'm like, and I
unique.
grew up here, So it's like, nah, no thanks.
I could have sworn I recently saw some article about some engine they bioengineered or selectively bred stupid octopus. So people wouldn't, because the people have been complaining that the octopus is too intelligent of an animal to eat, and so rather than just stop eating, and they're like, well, what if we found a really dumb one? Would you eat that one? And apparently people are okay with that.
Okay, wait a minute. Who's administering the octopus IQ test?
Yeah.
Oh, you've never seen any videos of them?
Oh yes, yes.
Oh, yeah.
There are,
But that's what I'm going to say is, how do you know the smart ones from the dumb ones?
Yeah.
right. Well, I
They
guess
all look delicious.
a dumb species, perhaps. Yeah.
And who's the lab like bioengineering the dumb octopus? And how do I get a government grant for that?
And who's to say that intelligence might not affect flavor? We got to do a taste test.
Yeah, see?
The old school smart
Hannibal
ones
Lecter
might
would be able to let
they
you know
might
about
taste
that.
better. Exactly.
Yeah, octopus is one of those, like, we don't eat dolphin, we don't eat whale, but we eat octopus, and they are smart as shit.
Well, we, meaning the West, I mean,
Yeah.
Japan, they eat whale, they eat dolphin, they love it.
That's true. That's true.
It's always interesting where on the sliding scale of what animal do we eat and what do we don't eat.
True.
See, South Park did it years ago. Did an episode that tried to explain the Japanese's hatred of whales and dolphins.
Yeah.
And their explanation was that propaganda had lied to them and told them that the two planes that dropped the A-bombs on Hiroshima and Nagasaki were piloted by whales and dolphins. So they're like in the
Oh,
cove,
that's right, yes.
stabbing them. Fuck you, whale. Fuck
I remember
you,
that
dolphin."
one, yeah.
Yeah, it's fucking great.
Those guys will they'll do anything for not just a laugh, but an offensive laugh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's all about the offensive laugh. You got to be, that's just freaking offensively hilarious.
Well, to me, the genius of South Park was always like, well, it's filtered through the eyes of 8-year-olds.
Yeah.
Yeah,
they definitely get away with a lot more because of that. But
so that's where like the rub comes in, where it's like, oh, well, what would the 8-year-old think about this?
yeah, so the one I saw last night, the new one, half of it was about ice and Christy Nome, and the other half of it was about doing podcasts. Oh, really? Right. So this one kid, I don't know how well you know the show, but Cartman has been famous for always being the right-wing lunatic asshole, the Jew hater, the one that.
Oh, I think I've seen. They made Cartman into Charlie Kirk, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
And the reason he did that is because this other kid at school, Clyde, basically stole his whole shtick and got really famous and started getting a lot of money as a podcaster, basically saying the same shit that Cartman has been saying for the last 10 years, and it drives him completely insane.
Oh, that's hilarious.
And then he goes on to coin a new phrase, which is master debating. That's what he's doing all day. And so basically that's what all we're doing is just sitting around doing a bunch of master debating.
Oh, that's great.
That's a good punchline.
Like, to me, like Cartman was always like a modern day Archie Bunker.
Yeah.
He was gruff and crass, but
But then he got more diabolical. There's an episode where he kills this kid's parents and puts him in the chili and makes him eat him. Scott Tenenbaum's parents, and everything changed in the show after that because then he became a force to be reckoned with.
That was a dark turn.
Yeah, for sure. Cartman is not somebody you want to get on their bad side.
It's just great how they nobody is safe, and it's almost like a rite of passage where you get I got skewered by South Park. Now I'm actually like part of the vernacular now.
Right.
I'm actually cool.
I'm important.
Yeah.
Some people have taken it well, some not quite so well. Kanye still apparently doesn't understand the fish sticks joke and still gets mad about it. It's still really doesn't understand it. That didn't work for him.
I could see where there's a lot of stuff he doesn't understand. He's like so walled off from reality.
He's one of those he's an interesting character, but he doesn't cross my threshold too much. It's with Kanye, his music is genius. I'm like, well, I don't listen to it.
Yeah, it's all right.
It's not for me. So
from what they say, that new song that's been banned is really good.
Yeah,
but of course nobody's ever going to hear it. Joe Rogan says it's fire, but I don't know how you would ever hear the thing. But he's just I don't know. He's just at some point you got to wonder how much of it is just grasping at fame, trying to stay relevant. To is he really that fucking crazy?
How much of it is performance art? How much of it is the Andy
or how
Kaufman
much
effect?
is it? A lot of it is just sometimes it's just what I call bomb throwing. It's like, okay, I'm just gonna pull the pin and throw the grenade, and whatever falls out of the blast zone isn't my fault.
But it's almost like he's pulling the grenade and then dropping it at his feet.
Yeah,
you're not really. You need to throw him a little farther, maybe than just. I don't know. I don't know. And it's, it seems like he, at least for a little while there, got kind of self-destructive.
Yeah.
And then, I don't know. And
But it's like, talented guy, yeah. Is he the Messiah?
Well, I was just gonna delve into his whole religious aspect of all the stuff he's doing. It's like, you really want to claim that you're a guy of God? I don't. In the classical sense, I think you've got some morality issues that might prevent you from being the face of religion. But
his cousin probably thinks so too.
Well, that brings to mind, right. That brings to mind Russell Brand. Like he's like a new Jesus guy. Like, oh, for God's sake, man!
Yeah.
Like you can just tell it's always the same guys: heroin addict to Jesus freak.
Really, no pun intended, but he really rebranded himself. In a major way.
But it's always those people that are like so far over into the weirdness of unreligious stuff. And then all of a sudden, perfect example. I don't even think you knew me back when I did. You know? I don't think you were around when I got busted. When I lived in Lake Worth.
Yeah, I knew you then.
Or did you remember that guy I was living with, Ernie?
No.
Anyway, so I was living in this house and I got busted for weed. I had about a pound in the freezer, and they arrested me. One guy had like a quarter in his room.
Didn't somebody have like a pill on their dresser or something?
Ernie got busted for one roofie.
Oof.
He didn't even know he had it. He didn't even know what it was. Some chick gave it to him in a bar. He thought it was a pain pill or something. He got busted for one roofie. We got the exact same sentence. One roofie and a pound of weed equal a year of probation.
Wow.
That is a horrible drug to be caught with, though, is a roofie.
Well, at that time especially, it was in the headlines. And
well, I mean, that's all it's for. I've never heard of anybody.
Well, it's funny how he got it.
Themselves recreationally.
He had bitched about his knee hurting to some chick in a bar, and she goes, here's a couple of these. Take some of these. And he took one and saved one.
Never heard of a woman giving a man a roofie, a reverse roofie.
But the point of my story is after this event with him and the roofie, he went totally religious. Like he quit drinking, quit smoking, did the whole 180 of his whole life, turned his life around, and just like, and he was always one of those guys that, a former service that's, like you could kind of look at him and go, okay, his mind is moldable.
Yeah.
He could be easily manipulated into doing something, and that's the kind of people that just go from one side to the other. Like, what are you thinking?
Well, those are almost like the same people that end up in cults.
True.
Because you could sit and look at some of these people. It's like, I mean, I'm not a religious guy, but I know like we're not supposed to worship false prophets. But it's like, how did you look at like the Heaven's Gate thing or like Jim Jones? How did you look at that guy and like, he has all the answers and we need to listen to him?
To the extent that I will kill myself.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, the thing with Jim Jones is,
I mean, something is lacking in your life,
right?
Or they're like the Manson followers. How did you look at Charles Manson, who was a psychopath by any stretch of the imagination?
LSD helps a little with that.
Yeah. And it usually starts much milder. It starts with just being part of a group and being friendly and having somebody
and I get you want camaraderie. You want to be like part of the crew.
And not only that, being part of the group when you weren't part of any group. That's where all these people come from. They're just loners that like, no, you can come into our group. We'll accept you.
And think about,
by the way,
even giant organizations like, when Scientology recruits a new member, they don't start off by telling you about the alien overlords and the spaceships and everything.
Right.
They don't tell you that shit until way later.
Magic underwear.
You spend a lot of money. And again, back to South Park. If it hadn't been for them, a lot of these people wouldn't even know what the hell I'm talking about right now.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know about that. I don't think, the other people were talking about Scientology, but South Park is definitely.
They definitely laid it out exactly.
They boosted the issue for sure, for sure. But
that also gets into the issue of like, if you want to be part of something, you have to like pass the initiation. It's like, why do people put up with the nonsense of being in a fraternity in college?
Yeah,
so they can get 5 years down the line. Oh, you're a Kappa Phi. We're going to put you right on the top of the list here. You're one of us.
Well, that's funny because I only spent about a semester and a half in college, but that whole time I basically hung out at the fraternities. I mean, that's what you did. You went to fraternity parties.
Yeah.
And I never a couple of my buddies were pledging, and doing all that ridiculous shit, like, get down and give me 20. And I'm looking at him like, this guy's, I never understood it. I was like, what's the point? And I guess at some level, if you're thinking way ahead, business wise, you do make connections with the people that, get you into the CIA or whatever the fuck they do in these fucking places.
Yeah.
But I just never got it. I was just like, why would anybody want to do this? I'm here, I'm hanging out. Why do I have to be a member?
Right. and some of it is like, it's like, well, I had to do this to get into here. And I think a lot of it is like, how much are you willing to be humiliated to want to be part of the group?
That's true.
And some people go, well, they fall out. It's like, I'm not going to scrub the toilet with my toothbrush just so I can get a cushy job in 10 years. You know, you can
I've never
have a
understood
good
the
time
ritual hazing like that.
Well, yeah, and now it's like something.
Well, it's a test. It's to see what you're willing to do to be a part of this group.
Like I had when I was in the marching band in high school, you know, I had a couple of issues with it. It's like, well, we got to haze you, and I'm like, well, the band director thought I was good enough to be here. I don't have to answer.
In marching band?
Yeah, because it was like, well, you got to march extra and you got to practice. I'm like, dude, I'm just here because I want to play drums. I didn't want to be in the army. I don't have to prove anything to you or you or you. The band director thinks I'm good enough to be here.
They never hazed me in marching. That's weird.
If that's not good enough for you, I don't answer to you. So I had, you know, as part of my issues with authority.
Now, I assume that's high school, right?
Yeah, it was high school.
So what were the other kids like in the band when you were in high school?
Some of them were nerds, some of them were cool, some of them just wanted something to do.
Right.
But to me, it was like my introduction to where I really got the Jones for like I want to perform. Like I will never forget the first time we did a high school halftime show, and it came off the field, and I just had this like, oh my god, that was like
you felt like you nailed it, right?
It was, and the band was we were good that year too. And it was like, oh my god, the band's good this year, and it was like I really got this whole thing where I'm like, I want to do this. I got to perform. I got to be part of this like musical
You got the taste,
thing.
And you've been chasing that taste the rest of your musical career.
And I was
That's what
good
it's about.
at it, you know? So it was like, and that sort of carried on to, you know, where I started playing bass and got into rock bands and all that.
That's funny. I didn't know you started on drums.
Yeah.
Because it seems like bass and drums just like, well, there's two kind of bass players.
Yeah.
There's bass players that really wanted to be guitar players.
Right.
And there's bass players that want to be drummers, which that's us.
Well, I mean, you know, a very long story short, my mom worked at a school for many years, so we had the whole summers off. So we used to go back to Massachusetts and spend time with my cousins.
Right.
I had a couple cousins that were a little older than me. And one year I went up, my cousin does a drum set in the basement, and the guy was playing guitar, and I'm just like, that's the coolest thing I've ever seen.
Right,
you know?
right.
So I'm 10, 11 at this point, and we come home from vacation, and I want to play drums too, Ma. And okay, got some sticks and a pad, and I started, and I was in the drum line all through high school.
Nice.
And then at some point, like, my father was not very supportive of my musical endeavors. You know, the marching band he tolerated, but when a bass showed up and I missed a couple haircuts, he was not a fan of that at all.
Well, was your dad real strict or something?
Yeah, he just didn't get it. And,
interesting.
You know, just it took me a long time to realize that my dad was a little on the spectrum because, you know, there was no Asperger's in the 50s.
I was just thinking about our perspective of this is totally skewed because not only was my dad not strict, he wasn't there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, my mom was okay, but there was never a point I was going to be allowed, oh, yeah, you can have a drum set in the garage and your friends can come over and jam.
Right,
so I had to like kind of switch gears a little bit, and that's where I started playing bass.
You know, I think I've told this story on the pod before, but man, the whole evolution, I swear to God, marching band, when I started as like a freshman, the people in marching band, like the juniors and seniors, they were like class presidents, some of the coolest people, like, you know, the upper echelon cool people and then as you know, by the time I was like in 11th grade, all those guys had graduated, and I started looking around, I was like, these people are nerds. What am I doing hanging out with these people? It just seemed to, and I swear, it just seemed like it was that era, like the late 70s, early 80s. Something shifted.
Yeah.
You know?
And you know, I admit I was a band nerd, but like it gave me something that, you know, I felt like, hey, here's something I can do. I can be part of this group. I'm good at it.
Right.
And I can, like, you know, we can achieve a goal.
Right.
You know, like
and I got to say, some of my best mememories of high school band are not like doing the band stuff was good, but every once in a while we would do these like jam sessions after all the rehearsals and all the practices.
Yeah.
And it'd be a bunch of these black dudes and me, and we'd sit there and just fucking jam out on like Michael Jackson tunes and shit like that, like old funk. You know, back then it's the 70s. You know, we'd do like old Ohio Players shit and just fucking around playing tubas and drums and shit.
Right.
It was fun as fuck. That was great, and there was a lot of talented dudes back then, man. Really talented. There was this one guy, and he was the first chair bass player for his whole existence in high school. His name was Ibrahim or something like that. But dude, this guy was one of the most talented motherfuckers. He could actually play just about anything, but they put him on bass. And this is how good he was. He actually took a tuba solo in a halftime. You ever seen that?
No.
Wow, that's
he was
cool.
that good.
Yeah.
He was that good on the fucking tuba. He was amazing. Not only that, this guy was jacked. He was like, you could see the veins sticking out of him. That guy was insanely good.
But it just really got my thing for like I just want to be a musician. I want to be a performer. And it was a lot of fun.
Right.
And it still is.
Well, we should probably
For the
migrate
most
back to a subject Rome could chime in on.
No, we're good. And I was just going to say that I graduated in '89, and by the time I graduated, I wasn't in band. But I can certainly say that the perspective that most of us had that were not in band was that they were a bunch of nerds.
Yeah.
They were definitely not looked up to, or not,
Yeah, I swear to God, that happened right around '80s.
Yeah.
And before the '80s, it was cool to be in band, and then it was like, ooh, weirdos. Yeah, that was very strange. Just actually, if that's the case, to witness that actual transition,
Yeah.
like, wow.
I wonder what the cause of it was.
I don't know. But I remember one of the times, I think I was a sophomore, and all these cool kids, seniors and juniors, put this, like, it was Christmas, so they put this like little ensemble that they were going to go, and we drove around in this one guy's van and went from people's houses. I don't know who these people were, but we did caroling outside their house with a brass ensemble. We had Randy on French horn. I think I was playing trombone at the time. We had a guy playing sax, a couple of trumpet players. I think there was one more, but I can't remember. Oh, no, I think I was playing trombone. Is that what I said?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't think we had a tuba player. But anyway, that was actually pretty cool, going around doing, all the Christmas songs, Christmas carols and stuff. But that was about, and that never happened again after those guys graduated.
Yeah.
Nothing ever like it, it just became, I don't know.
That's a unique cultural thing too, right? If you think about caroling, like you think about imagine showing up at any other day of the year with a group of people and singing at singing any other kind of music, how that would be received.
Yeah.
Probably not so well. It'd be fun
I
to
don't
do
know.
with like a mariachi band, like
how about
a Mexican restaurant, and just go harass people at their house and play mariachi music at them until they pay you to leave.
Well, what if what do the bicycle dudes call the Jehovah's Witness? What if they showed up with like a gospel choir? That'd be kind of cool.
Right. The bicycle dudes are usually Mormons.
Mormons,
Jehovah's
whatever. I don't
Witnesses
know.
are usually like old ladies.
Yeah, but what if somebody showed up with like a gospel choir banging out some cool stuff? They'd be like, that's kind of cool. That would be kind of a waste of time and money. That'd be a long shot. Like, well, let's hope they're home.
Yeah.
Right? Let's hope they're not armed.
Yeah, because nobody answers their door anymore.
That's true. Yeah, they just sit there and
performing.
watch you on their door, their
Yeah.
ring bell or whatever.
Like, who are you? What do you want?
Camera.
Go away.
Yeah.
Dude, those things, I could care less about how good they are as being a doorbell or whatever. But man, those guys have provided some of the best videos of some crazy shit happening. People getting shot, wrecks in front of the houses, crazy stuff. Like, have you ever seen the one where there's a guy that I forget why he did it. Oh, you know what it was is he had a camera and he noticed this kid was riding his bike around his driveway all the time. And instead of going out there, stay out of my driveway, he drew a little racetrack for the kid. Like, there you go nuts. Yeah, you
that
can
was
see
very wholesome.
Yeah, right.
Opposite of wholesome, Russian dash cam videos.
Oh, yes.
Those are always fun to
They're the
watch.
best.
Those people are insane.
Yes. Well, they're Russians, dude. Russians aren't right.
Apparently, if they don't have the dash cam, they're basically foobarred when it comes time to try to reimburse or whatever.
Yeah, I think it's actually required over there.
It might be.
Yeah. But you're just driving along and then a plane falls out of the sky, or just...
Meteors. They got that meteor on one of the dash cams. Remember, there's a big meteor in Russia. Yeah. And I mean, if truthfully, ideologically, differences aside, if you were to take and really reduce the influence of our government without also bolstering, local governments, if you just were to take away a lot of the power of the federal government, we would start looking a lot more like Russia.
Yeah.
I mean, Russia is arguably the freest country on the planet right now.
In some regards, I mean, hopefully we wouldn't develop the crippling alcoholism that they have over Russia. I mean, even it's popular here, but it pales in comparison to what's going on over there. And one of the biggest differences too in the whole psyche of the people is that people there have, there's like a racial memory of losing tremendous amounts of your own people during wars.
Yeah.
You look World War I, World War II. Yeah, of course, America we lost some troops, but not on our soil.
Right.
It's
And not near as many.
Our civilians weren't killed. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Our cities weren't bombed. Our our crops weren't poisoned, and our fields weren't salted and destroyed and burned.
Yeah. Plus, it's such a frigid climate. You have to be a real hardy person to survive over there.
Well, the thing is, Russia's so big.
Yeah.
It's not all that some of it in the South Russia is not that cold at all. And, Siberia, obviously. And the thing is, the part up by Siberia and all that, that's so unpopulated. There's so few people live up there.
Yeah.
It's like
most of the people that live there are basically almost just the indigenous people, or people that have always lived there, like Inuit and up in the Arctic Circle and stuff. It's
there's parts in South Russia that are kind of like Italy, or very temperate.
Yeah.
And a lot of their more populous regions were when they are no longer in Russia.
Right. Kiev.
Lots of the stands.
Yeah.
Kazakhstan, let's see, Uzbekistan,
Yeah.
Kazakhstan.
Why
There's
do
got
those?
to be at least one more stand.
Why do those countries have "stan" at the end of their name?
Stand means land.
Oh, okay.
In that language. So
In
it's
some
just
language,
the
gotcha.
land of the Uzbeks, land of the Kazakhs,
Gotcha.
land of
Yeah.
Land of the Afghans.
land of the Pakis, land of the Afghans.
Yep. Interesting. Speaking of land of Pakis, I've got nothing.
I didn't know if you were going to do some sort of Wisconsin joke there. Which kind of Pakis you were talking about? Packers fans or Pakistanis?
No, I had nothing. I'm just reaching. I was hoping something would come, but sometimes there's just nothing left in the well.
Yeah. Well, the heat will do that to the brain.
That's true. So what else we got? Anything else topical we can talk about?
Well, we know that
Struggling.
big boob blondes are back in style.
Big blue blondes?
Yeah.
Yeah.
What does that mean?
Big titted blue jeans.
Yeah.
Blue G. Oh, yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, we talked about that a couple of episodes ago, and it's like, I just don't get it. I had to have him explain to me, like,
Yeah.
I don't get it.
Well, it's we've gotten so far away because people forget, sex sells. There was a point not that long ago where it's like, it was a big deal, like who's going to be on the cover of the Sports Illustrated swimsuit issue, and you could start a whole modeling career from that.
Well, I don't think the issue is that she's that much sexy. It's just that she's white.
Yeah.
Right. Well, but no one explains it better than Tim Dillon did when he went on his little rant, and he basically kept using the word white as much as possible. He's like, she wants to feed her white baby her white breast milk from her white titties with her white skin.
Do you watch Tim Dillon?
Sometimes I do.
Oh my God, you got to see every one of them. They're so fucking
Yeah.
good. Would you like to tell him about what he said about Brigitte Macron going? About he should go on Milk Boys and
She
Rogan.
needs to go on Milk Boys and Rogan and quote, and I'm going to paraphrase and quote, show your gash, show your clit, spread your legs
Rogan,
for
your
Joe
clit.
Rogan.
Yeah.
And then he went on to do a pretty good Joe Rogan impression where he's like, oh, that could definitely 100% that could be altered,
Yeah.
It was hilarious. Yeah, Tim Dillon is fucking hilarious.
Yeah, he's definitely, got some. The thing is, some of these people where, they could just riff with no notes
Yeah.
and
His
not
ability to
stumble, not
rant
screw up,
is just amazing.
Yeah. Speaking of which, I got to walk back something I said the other day because we had, I don't know if you saw Tucker Carlson and Candace Owens, and he made the statement.
I saw some of it, yeah.
All right, well, he was talking about Nick Fuentes, and he goes, look, whatever you say about Nick Fuentes, I can respect him because he can sit in front of a camera for 20 minutes and riff, and that means he's a genius or something
Yeah.
like that. And so I'm like, hey, look, that makes us really a genius.
Yeah.
But in his defense, we have somebody to help. We're not doing it by ourselves,
Yeah.
which I
Yeah.
think would make it a lot more difficult, which is funny because I was thinking about that because what are we going to come up with to talk to you today? And I'm like, well, thank God Mark's coming. At least there's another guy to come up with something to talk about.
Yeah.
That's what really impresses me the most about the Dillon podcast is his ability to just rant all by himself.
By himself.
Right.
With seemingly, I don't know if he has notes or any kind
knows?
of outline or script or anything,
Yeah.
but I don't see it, and it's impeccable.
Yeah, there's not many guys that can do that. I mean, they've got Dillon. Who else does just single podcast? Candace, she does it.
Yeah.
Dave Smith does it sometimes, but he's also got that Rob guy.
Right.
I mean, Joe Rogan, but he's always got a guest. So they're not that many
Yeah.
people that just sit there by.
No, there's a
just
few.
them.
There's who's the one guy I used to watch? Sticks, Hexenhammer. He'll just sit there and riff for 10 minutes, but it's the thing that he's not stuttering. He's not he's just
Right,
stream of
like
consciousness.
Have you seen any of the podcasts or the half of Opie and Anthony, Anthony Cumia.
Oh, Cumia, yeah.
And Gavin McGinnis or something like that is on there. There's those two
They're
guys.
actually pretty funny.
But that's not really a podcast so much as it is almost like a show. Where
radio
they
show,
basically have
They
a
start
topic
on the radio.
and they discuss whatever the topic of the day is, and exactly. It's a little more scripted, I think.
Yeah, it's basically a radio show just made into a podcast, is what
Pretty
it is,
much,
you know?
yeah.
Yeah.
Which
I mean, that's kind of what we're trying to do. Take a radio show and turn it into a podcast.
Which is, a lot of the radio guys, once the podcast started coming along, they just figured, well, I'm going to continue the radio format. We're going to have callers. And a couple of them just were very successful. There was a guy named Tom Likas who was very popular on the West Coast for a long time.
Right.
And then his show ended. And then he just tried to do let me do the show on the internet. And I spent $1 million building a studio, and I got to have callers calling in, and it didn't work.
Well, let's face the facts. If Fox had never fired Tucker, he wouldn't have a podcast. He'd still be on Fox News,
Right. But it's also interesting where it's other people, a couple of people have left CNN. What's Don Lemon doing?
Oh, he's got a podcast.
Yeah, and
just nobody watches it.
5 people listen to it.
Yeah, exactly.
And then, Tucker reaches 10 times the people that he.
That's what I keep saying about Colbert. These people freaking out about. Look, put Colbert in with the podcast universe. See how he does. If he's so popular, he'll do great. He'll do better than he was doing on the. If he's truly not funny, like it seems,
Well,
and I'm sorry, but he's just not funny anymore.
You know who's got a great podcast that was in that world?
What's that?
Conan O'Brien.
Huh. Yes,
Conan
I agree.
Needs a Friend is a great podcast.
It is.
And he also does. He does have famous guests come on, of course, but he also has episodes where he just talks to fans and like callers, like a radio show.
Yeah, Conan's genius. That guy is.
Some of his best shows are the ones where he's with that guy Jordan Schlansky.
Oh yes,
they basically hate each other's guts.
Yeah,
and that's always
that also shows the power of the free market. Just recently, everybody's losing their minds because they're defunding PBS and NPR and all that. And it's how many years have they been propped up so nobody listens to it?
Right.
Well, let them go compete on their own. That's the same thing a few years ago when they had the Air American network, where Mark Maron and a few other of the the left-leaning people, and it failed. And it was that's the people going, well, you know what?
Hey, look at look at Michelle Obama's podcast. What, he made 3 episodes and is gone or something like that.
Because what would she possibly have that's interesting to say?
Well, you'd think she'd have something interesting to say, but I mean, she's certainly popular person. How did that popularity not translate to a podcast? Unless
and I also think it's because she's not a broadcaster, she hasn't been doing it for years, and maybe
she's a lawyer, which is practically the same thing. No, I'm serious. If you ever go to court and see lawyers doing their thing, that's like performing. It's the same exact thing.
No, I'm good friends with the lawyer, and I
mean, they're
admire
actors.
his ability.
Lawyers have to be. If you're doing trial lawyers and going in front of juries and stuff, you have to be able to speak in public. You have to be an actor. You have to be
any kind of Lincoln Douglas debate, any kind of it's all somewhat of a performance, and like a persuasive essay, but in real time.
Yeah, I may not have the facts, but I'm very convincing.
Exactly. And if you that's really. Which it shouldn't be, but that's really what kind of determines a good lawyer.
Yeah.
Is how persuasive they can be instead of just going by the rules, which, that kind of indicts the whole system.
Yeah.
But at the same time,
Well, that also falls under the, you got to live in the world that is rather than the world you wish was.
Right. Persuasion, charisma, these are all things that, affect decisions.
Oh, yeah.
Right. Well, look at politicians, There's some people that have some really awful ideas, but they're charismatic. He's so, it's like I remember when Bill Clinton was up and running. Well, it's how many women voted for Bill Clinton? Oh, he has charisma. He was so handsome. It's okay, well, what are his policies? What does he stand for?
Which, when you say
but
that,
he plays the saxophone. He's so handsome.
When you say stuff like that, though, how do you explain Lindsey Graham?
I don't know.
That guy got the charisma of a rock.
Been there so long it didn't matter.
Well, that also gets into my sort of thing where I think maybe your vote doesn't really count. Maybe these people are actually chosen.
Well, there's definitely some of that.
A lot of these people
the
that
system
are in office and stay in office. I can't imagine someone looking at Jerry Nadler going, "That's the guy. We need him in there running everything."
If your vote really had any power, they wouldn't let you do it.
Yeah. So it's just.
Well, the problem is the whole electoral process has been hijacked by money and corporations, and there's got to. If you don't get them out of it, then it's not really.
Yeah. But it's like, is the Pandora's box so far open that there's no, where do we even, like, the same thing with all the government spending, where they're losing their money over the whole Doge thing. It's like, dude, billions and billions of dollars are just going somewhere, and no one's going, like, can I see a spreadsheet? Like, all the money that went to Ukraine. One person stood up. And like, hey, could we maybe have some accounting of all this? And it was Rand Paul, and they told him, "You sit down and you shut up."
Well, now they just openly admit there's $100 billion missing. We don't know where it went. We have no idea. Which that itself should be like, okay, stop the presses, stop everything. If there's
only in the public sector does anything like that even have a chance of flying. In any kind of corporate environment, if you can't explain where the money went, there's going to be hell to pay.
Yeah, because there's no, if a government doesn't.
Well, here's the thing: there's not hell to pay in a corporation if the head of the corporation is like, oh yeah, no, don't look at that.
Yeah.
Then it's we lost $100 billion.
Yeah, we just wrote it off. It's okay.
Yeah, it's exactly what's going on. Like, that money just got laundered.
They knew where it went.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly.
So I think that's why so many people, had a little fit where it's like, Trump was like, well, we should run it like a business. I'm like, well, why shouldn't we? Why can't there be like, oh, the government failed their accounting for the 27th year in a row, and there's just zillions of dollars that I don't know where it went. Like, well, why is this acceptable? Why aren't people riding in the streets over this?
My biggest argument about running the government like a business would be that they would start to try to do too much, which they've already done. Yeah. So I can't argue against that point anymore because they've already taken over every. And here's the question I ask people that are so invested in the government: like, name me one problem. Any issue problem that the government has ever fixed or solved.
Yeah.
One. Just come up with one.
Or just because there's no competition. Like, we've all had a terrible experience at the DMV or any government office. And you're like, why does this have to be so awful? Because there's no competition.
I got to say, it's been a while, but my last time to the DMV wasn't that bad.
Yeah.
I mean, it took a while, but other than that, as you go and you get a number, you sit there for a while, you go to the DMV, bing, bing, and you're out. Mm-hmm. So it's definitely not as bad as it used to be.
Yeah.
But the other thing is, like, the thing that sucks about the DMV now is if you don't have a computer, you can't go.
Yeah.
You got to make an appointment. Why do you make an appointment? You got to go online. Well, what if I'm an old guy, don't have a computer? You can't go.
Or, like,
take your ass to the library and use the computer.
I had my mom had a little bit of rough experience, like right after my dad passed, like they had accidentally sent her one Social Security check of his, and she sent it back.
Right.
And then, 6 weeks later, hey, we need that check back. Okay, well, I already sent it back, and I've talked to this guy. And this went on for like a year and a half. And it was when COVID was going on. So there's no going into an office and here's a piece of paper. We can fix this all in 5 minutes. And it's like, does nobody like leave a note in the system? Does nobody talk to each other? Why did this take a year and a half? And it was a check for like $2,900. It wasn't like they sent her, oh, we accidentally sent you $2 billion. And she cashed the check. And, oh, hey, sorry, I ran off to Aruba,
Yeah, but there's not that kind of oversight on 100
sometimes
billion,
all this is like, just billions and millions of dollars go somewhere. And there's no accounting for it. And like the hell my poor mother had to go through over, a pittance.
Well, not only that. I mean, we're talking about that like as if indignantly, as if it's our money.
Yeah.
I don't pay taxes. You pay taxes?
As little as possible.
Exactly.
But that was also the point. It's like,
whose money is it?
Yeah. Well, that was
who's
also
giving them all this
somebody
money?
Brought up. It's like, well, the government doesn't build anything and they'll make anything. All that money comes in is like taxpayers' money.
Right. Or printed.
Yeah.
That's the problem. Is they just make it up. They just print it.
And then it's like, well, if you could just print money, why do we have to pay taxes?
That's even better than before. They don't even have to print it anymore.
Yeah. Right. No, it's all just.
They don't even need a physical form of it. It's not even running the mints or anything. It's
that was the thing. It's like with
entering it into the system.
All the money that went to Ukraine. Well, how did they actually get the money? Did they mail a check? Was there like a routing number they had to copy down? And how did they just $100 million just showed up one day?
And here's what I'm wondering at this moment is how much of this system was set up exactly the way it was by Jeffrey Epstein to make this all easy for them to facilitate.
Yeah.
Like, you can just take money, make it up whenever we want and say it's money here, money there. I mean, how much did he have involved with like, we can set up a system where you don't have to really have money. We can just say it's money and pretend and it's crazy.
It's like that's the whole push. Like, let's go to
fiat currency anyway, so it's already pretend money.
Well, it's the whole push to get away. Let's have everything all be electronic now, where there's no like real money. That's one of the things when you go into a casino.
Oh yeah,
you don't play with money. You play with chips,
right?
Because it gives the illusion of I'm not actually playing with money here, so I don't have any thought of how much I'm actually losing. So it's like an exchange system.
Right. Well, we could all go back to bartering, but then what does anybody got to barter?
Yeah.
Skills and services. Yeah. Nobody has any of those anymore either.
No.
Exactly.
You know, it's not like, okay.
The only thing you'd literally have to barter would be your labor. Be like, okay, I'll come pick some cotton if you know, give me, some
which
some
you know,
food.
nobody does that anymore. It's like, okay, well, you can weld and you can work on a roof and you can fix my car and you can be a farmer and you can pull your teeth out and we can all just trade off, you know. I mean,
it's highly impractical, and obviously, but in any situation where you can do something like that, it is a wonderful little subtle way to give.
Oh, I do it all the time.
System, you know what I mean?
I do trade but anytime I can avoid money.
Something that you know how to do, and you can do something you know how to do. Then,
right?
Yeah, absolutely. Help each other out, and nobody needs to. There's no receipts needed, and
and back in the day when I was a pot dealer, I paid with just about for everything with pot, you know, because I would get it cheap. So like, yeah, you want to come clean my house? So it'd be what, $100 in money?
Yeah.
All right, how much you want in pot? Okay, here you go. Get out of here.
Yeah, like I've heard, you know, comedians talk about back in the 80s where like clubs would pay you like here's $5,000 in cash and $5,000 in blow.
Yeah.
And okay, well that's cool.
Well, you know, in some ways, drugs are better than money because you can't always use money to get drugs.
Yeah,
you can always use drugs to get money.
That's true. That's true. And the thing is, even if you don't do coke, you take the coke and you sell it, and you make more money. You know. All right, with selling coke, we should probably wrap it up.
Yeah, that's a good way to end. Good way to end the show. We're going to run a little late anyway. Like and subscribe, guys. Please leave us your comments. Please call us on our doc hotline, 904-549-9024.
9024. God, I got it.
904-549.
9024.
There you go. Nice. That's the number. Thanks,
All right,
guys.
thanks, guys. We'll see you next time.
Peace out.